Man United have done it. They have won 3 games in a row in the Premier League. Can you believe it? Only 2 games left until the United Australian can cut his hair. Will he do it? And this, for me, is a massive win for United. I think this is bigger than the Anfield win in the sense that Brighton are a team that they usually struggle to beat. Look, it's the same against Liverpool. They have a terrible record at Anfield. But specifically against those bigger teams, Man United don't have to play ultra-attacking football. They can play a bit more defensive, which is what they do against the big teams. That's why they're able to get the results. Whereas in this game, it was at home against a team that's not this massive club. You know, Brighton, they're a team that you'd expect Manchester United typically to beat. In terms of the stature of who Manchester United are as a club, you'd expect Man United to win that game. But they got the win. These are the games they usually struggle against. They got the win. And I thought it was a sensational performance. I think that this is the best game I've watched them play under Ruben Amorim. You know, there was the 4-0 win against Everton, I remember, in his first game. I remember that was a big performance when I think Rashford scored a brace in that game and Xerxes scored as well. But I think that this means more because of the team that they beat. Everton were massively struggling under Sean Dyche at that period, whereas Brighton are a team that I actually rate quite highly. And this was a massive, massive result for Manchester United. So here we've got FOTMob. And if we take a look at the lineup, I mean, this is pretty much what I'm expecting to see from Manchester United. I'd say that under Amorim, this is the best team that they have using his system. And I thought that we saw great performances all across the pitch. I genuinely think, outside of maybe Delo in the first 15 minutes, I thought United were excellent across the whole pitch in terms of their starting 11. So there's not really anything too interesting to take away from that. Brighton is similar. I mean, this is mainly their best team. You know, I don't really see any other players that would usually start for them. They'd probably Matoma. Although Hinshelwood's out as well, but I don't know. But this is a very strong Brighton side. Although now Ferdy Kalioglu on the wing is interesting. But United, they started strong. Obviously, Mateus Cunha scored that absolute banger in the first half hour. A great finish. Mateus Cunha is a player that I think has been underrated this season because, you know, there's all the jokes that he's obviously gone 008 or whatever, but he's actually been very impactful when I've watched him play for Manchester United. He's very difficult to deal with, so good in tight spaces. He's got a good shot on him. He's been a quality signing for them. And this front three, it's the best game that I've seen them play together as a unit. Because Sesko, although he didn't get on the score sheet, I thought he put in a decent performance. And Burmo was probably the man of the match in this game. He got the 2 goals, sealed the win in the end. He was quality. Casemiro had a great game, as you can see here, goal and assist. Bruno was very, very good. Just a very well-rounded performance. After Cunha scored that goal, Casemiro scored a very lucky goal where it was just heavy deflection. Goalkeeper completely misreads. I think the Bruggen had an absolute shocker of a game. And then, not long after... Oh, wait. Damn, I forgot the 3rd goal was that late. Yeah, and then after half-time, and Burmo scores a 3rd. And that's when you think the game's over. And if you look at the stats, I don't think this shows... This accurately reflects the story of the game. If you look at the first half when that game was massively decided, again, it's still quite even, but I think United had the better chances. They had massive control of the game, and I think the reason that United were able to play so well was because of their high press. I mean, Brighton are a team that are known for being able to play out from the back very well. It started with Graham Potter, it continued with De Zerbi. It got better with De Zerbi, and then Hertzler's continued as well. They're a very good team when playing out from the back, but United absolutely smothered them. I mean, you basically had them pressing in a front four. Ahmad joined the attack. They were going man to man with the defense, which allowed Bruno and Casemiro to match up on Baleba and Ayari. And this, is good in theory because man matchups, they're very difficult to play through. However, that adds the option over the top to Ruta and Welbeck. But De Ligt and Shaw were the two that were dealing with Welbeck and Ruta, and they did such a good job man marking them when United were pressing high. Brighton weren't really able to play through the press at all, and that was how United were able to generate chances. And one criticism that I have had with United under Amorim is that their midfield doesn't allow any form of central creation. Bruno Fernandes is obviously a creative player, but you notice United, they always opt to go to the flanks first. They can't progress the ball through the centre of the pitch at all. And I do still think that this is an issue, and they still need to find a long-term solution for that. But an alternate way to generate chances is by pressing high, is by winning the ball back in the final third. And it's a thing that is very common in the Premier League. There are a lot of teams that press high, and that's how United got all their joy today, just pressing high. I thought Ahmad was phenomenal. I don't know how he only got a 6.9 rating. Some of these ratings are crazy. De Ligt was arguably man of the match. I don't know how he only got a 6.7. I thought that was quality from United, and really, the only way that Brighton were able to get back into the game was because of the Man United subs. Aiden Heaven was alright, he got an assist, Xerxes was okay, but these three, the Chuckle Brothers, they were horrendous. Mainu is a player that I adore. I think Mainu is a phenomenal talent. But what? But that was the worst game I've seen Kobbie Mainu play. When he came off the bench, he just wasn't able to keep the ball. Ugarte, we come to expect these things from, and Dorgu, I'll give Dorgu the benefit of the doubt. He's a young player, but if there's one way you can criticize Amorim, it's the subs. The subs were terrible. They were all shit. I don't know why he took Ahmad off when he did. He should have maybe left Ahmad on a bit longer, because it just really didn't work when Dorgu came on. He switched to the right. He went to the left. Dallo switched to the right hand side, and it just didn't really work. It didn't really work at all. And then that midfield was cooked. He took Cunha off, moved Bruno into the 10, and then that main Ugarte midfield wasn't good. And I think it's a little bit concerning, because I'm not actually going to put the blame on Amorim in this one, because I mean this is the opportunity for you to give them a run out when you're 3-0 up against Brighton. Like that's when you play Kobbie Mainu. I know Ugarte didn't come on until after the first goal, but they were not good. They really were not good. They were losing the ball. They weren't good defensively. They just didn't look great. And I come to expect this from Ugarte, because Ugarte is terrible. But Mainu is a player I actually rate. Brighton, obviously, in the 74th minute, get a goal back through Danny Welbeck. A great free kick. Very, very good free kick. Just places it right under the post. Right under the bar, sorry. It's never getting saved. Lemons, I thought, was decent in the first half. Maybe, could he have saved either of the goals? I don't know. And then the second goal just wasn't very good. It was from a corner, poorly defended corner from United. And that gave them a lifeline that they didn't deserve, because Brighton were not good at all during that first half and for a lot of the second half. But those subs, they just switched off, and they gave them a lifeline. And then Brian and Burmo, right at the end, seals the win in what was fully deserved. Like, this was no smash and grab. This is a result that United fully deserved. Aiden Heaven plays the ball over the top, and the dummy from Bruno is, oh, it's spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Great. Yeah, Bruno had a great game. That was the best game I've seen him play this season. He was good in the first half at Anfield, but wasn't very good in the second half. But this is definitely the best game I've seen him play. And then in Burma with the finish, I mean, we're finally starting to see things click with the new signings. This new front three, you know, they've got a lot of quality. Cunha and Burma, we know, are two very dangerous players in the Premier League. They were two of the best forwards in the Premier League last season. Probably the two best outside the big six, I'd say. Except for Isak. But he's obviously at Liverpool now as well. He got his big six move along with these two. And yeah, I mean, if they're on it, it's gonna be dangerous. You know, you're not gonna want to come up against this United front three. You know, Sesko's not a player that I rate all that highly, but he's very raw. He's got so much talent, just isn't really the finished product. And yeah, I mean, great win for United. As I said, this means more than the Liverpool game. Well, it doesn't mean more, but it's a bigger result in the sense of this is how United. United can use this as a foundation moving forward. Whereas that Liverpool game, you don't want to see United playing like that every week. Whereas if United come up against teams like this, good, solid Premier League teams at Old Trafford, and play like that, press them as high as they can, as high as they did, it will work wonders. From a Brighton perspective, I mean, they couldn't really create much at all. I didn't think that they really had any standout performances. Obviously, Welbeck's goal was good, but it was a pretty subpar from Brighton. I guess they kind of did well to fight back, bring it to 3-2, but they did not deserve anything from this game. And the stats say that they do, but considering the fact that United were in control for pretty much the whole game, I don't think any of this really means anything. I mean, if look at they had 11 shots in the second half, 2 goals. Both teams had 2 goals. And yeah, it was a fun game to watch. That's the thing. Like, watching a team press that highly, win the ball that half the pitch, have that many chances, that score 6 goals between them. I mean, it's fun to watch. And despite the fact that I obviously didn't want United to win this, it was a bit of a hate watch. It was an entertaining watch. I did thoroughly enjoy that. And looking forward for United, I mean, this is the best run of form that they've had under Ruben Amorim by far. They've got Nottingham Forest next week, which is a massive game. Obviously, they're not in good form. United have to win that. That is a must win. And then this Tottenham game, if they beat Forest, they'll play Tottenham to win 5 in a row if they beat Forest, and that'll be a big watch on the early kickoff. Brighton, I mean, they're doing all right, I guess. They were on an unbeaten run heading into that game after their defeat to Bournemouth. They've been doing well. They currently sit 13th in the table, which probably isn't where they want to be, but they've got Leeds next week, which, I mean, you'd expect them to win that game. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for this game. Like, I don't really have much else to say. I think United fully deserved this win. Subs were shit. The high press looks very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And yeah, I mean, maybe this is a sign that things are finally starting to improve under Amorim. Because this is the best because as I said, this is the best I've seen them play. I guess we can look around the rest of the Premier League. I'm going to do another video on the Liverpool game, so I'm not going to touch on that. But, I mean, what a hate watch Chelsea versus Sunderland was. I mean, that was a ridiculous game of football. Sunderland win it pretty much last kick of the game. Horrible, horrible defending from Chelsea. And Chelsea didn't deserve shit from that. They didn't deserve anything. Newcastle beat Fulham, which I did expect. Jacob Murphy scores, Lukic equalises, and then Bruno Guimaraes scores a late winner. Fotmob thinks he was man of the match. Credit for chances, maybe he was, I don't know. Bassi looks like getting an error leading a goal. That guy's not very good at football. And then, yeah, that's it. Other than the Liverpool game, that was a pretty short one, but that's pretty much all I had to say. I mean, look, credit to Man United. They fully deserved that. And this is so big for them, not just because they actually had a top performance, but because they finally managed to maintain momentum after a big win. Because under Amorim, United have had big wins. Like if we go back, the one I remember so clearly was that win against Man City. Yeah, here, look, they beat Man City, and then they proceeded to go 4 losses in a row. Drew away at Anfield and knocked Arsenal out in the cup. Then beat Sunderland. Then beat Southampton. So they were starting to maintain a little bit of momentum after that horrid period. Bang, smashed up by Brighton. Then they beat Rangers in the Europa League, whatever. Beat Fulham. They started to get a couple more wins. Lose to Palace. Like they keep having these abysmal performances following big results. And we've even seen that this season. You know, when they beat Chelsea, and what was the Chelsea game? Like, that was the biggest win of their season at that point. Beat Chelsea, play the worst game I've watched them play in the Premier League this season. Other than maybe the City game, but that's slightly forgivable. Like, that Brentford performance was abysmal. They were terrible. They deserved absolutely nothing from that game. So look, United fans will be very happy that they're starting to gain a little bit of momentum. Things are finally starting to look good. They're somehow in the top 4 with the run that they've had. I generally think if it wasn't for that Grimsby game, I think I said this even before they started the run. I think the overall narrative around United would be very different if it wasn't for that Grimsby game, because they've had tough fixtures and from a results basis, I mean, beating Chelsea, beating Liverpool at Anfield. Now getting the win against Brighton, being in the top 4, they were even the losses. Other than obviously the Brentford and the City one was bad, but the Arsenal game, they were quite good. So yeah, I think it would be a very different narrative around United, because considering the fixtures they've had, being 4th, I think United fan would have bit your arm off for that. So yeah, as I said, massive credit to Manchester United. They fully deserved the win. Can they actually get in form? Can they actually maintain some consistent form? We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, big win.